Thank you, F50, for this opportunity to present on startup funding in the COVID economy. The bad news is in the midst of there's been a fall of stock market, rise in unemployment, and there have been spending cuts, both consumer, business, and the government. This downturn has also had a supply chain impact and many other restrictions due to health and safety regulations. The unemployment is so 15%. There are a spate of bankruptcies. Hertz, the icon of rental cars, filed for Chapter 11 March end. Many businesses may never reopen again. On the other side, the positive news is that the markets are very optimistic and upbeat. Stock indices have surged from their pandemic low to about 40% up. We are seeing the economy in a V-shaped recovery, but there is still a long way to go. From a startup perspective, the good news is the private markets are resilient and they are not heavily impacted by what happens in the stock market because startups are longer term investments and there are new disruptive opportunities that are now exposed due to industry shift. So investors will continue to deploy capital regardless of the economic climate, but they'll be very selective. While you'll see a lot of investments in late stage, as always, they will not ignore the early stage because that's what creates the funnel for them. But remember, the investment parameters to fund a startup change during a downturn. So expect to see longer funding cycles, lower multiples, and multi-stage tranches. That's how the funds will be released. In some ways, VCs really love this scenario because if they have raised a fund before the downturn and have to deploy it now, they will be able to get more equity for the same dollars because the seed valuations have declined for the first time since 2012. In short, crisis is not a gloom and doom situation. Leverage it to discover new opportunities, as investors too are in search of startups with game-changing innovations. Downturns are surprisingly a fertile time for company building. Look at the last recession. We had a spate of unicorns born then. Uber, Airbnb, Square, Groupon, and so on. These are opportune moments for innovators, which lead to emergence of new market leaders. COVID-19 is really pushing us into a new state of economy, but then what does it mean? Let's look at the factors that affect the new economy. Health regulations are restricting our mobility and also the time to reboot because of phased reopening of economy. Limited mobility is causing certain behavioral changes, which are causing industry shifts. All these have economic impact with tightened spending. Here is how the new economy is impacting our lives. So if you look at this, the new kind of startups or new kind of products that are coming up, they're touching every facet of our life, whether it is social or professional. And many of these things will not go away. They will stay with us and become a part of the new normal. So we are into a situation of economic reboot. And this is an opportunity for new growths. In the minds of an investor, this is an opportunity to discover and excel for startups. And the question is, will your startup be able to accelerate with new innovations and newer business models in this new economy? And for that, you have to get into an investor's mind to answer her or his questions. We must understand that the investor is looking for your startup to grow and thrive in the new economy. So he's obviously going to look for what is your strategy? What is the roadmap to grow and thrive? How is your startup placed to leverage all that? In order to do this, we must first understand the character of this downturn. Okay, to see where are the unique opportunities and how do you grow and thrive in the new economy. So for you to redesign your business to leverage the changes that are occurring, first of all, you have to understand the concept of structural and cyclical impacts. In any economy, there is an expansion and contraction of demand for some industries. These are cyclical in nature, temporary in nature. What is important is to see the long-term trend, whether it is trending upwards or trending downwards. What is trending upwards is structurally positive. So although there are cyclical impacts of positive and negative booms and busts, as we call them, you know, in the long term, the industry is going to grow. But if you are in a structurally negative industry, although you might see a boom at certain point in time, it may not last because overall the growth is going to tank. Let's put this in the form of a quadrant and try to see how this all works in an economic framework. The structural change, obviously, as I said earlier, is the one that is permanent or long-lived, whereas the cyclical disturbance tends to return to its previous level over a period of few years. So if you are in the top right quadrant, you're structurally positive, cyclically positive. This is a very happy situation. The trend is accelerating in our favor. Okay, step on the gas. Okay, this is the time to double down. Whereas if you are in a situation where the industry is structurally positive, but you are sensing cyclically negative impacts, okay, realize that this is only cyclical. It is only temporary, and you will see happy days again. But if you are in the quadrant where you're experiencing both cyclically negative and structurally negative scenarios, then it is a situation where you have to squeeze blood from a rock. Okay. And this is a situation of resilience. Can you repurpose your startup, its offerings, to bounce back and move into the positive zone? And finally, the zone which is structurally negative but cyclically positive is like a twilight zone. Okay, you've got to be really adaptable over here because you're suddenly seeing a boom. Okay, whereas you know that your industry is impacted in a structurally negative way, that it's going to uh, going to be trending downwards. Okay, so what happens in these situations? Okay, you have obviously got to take advantage of the immediate opportunities, like textile companies trying to make masks. Okay, because they know that work from home is lesser demand for textiles. Okay, vodka companies making hand sanitizers. Okay, because structurally their market, which is dependent on hospitality, restaurants, bars, hotels, etc., is down. Okay, similarly, video dating. Okay, video dating is no fun on video. People want to meet people in person, in real environments, face to face. So this is only for this moment that they are seeing a cyclically positive trend. So the thing that they have to do over here is obviously move into a positive zone. So for people in the sustenance, how can I wait and sustain over this negative cycle? And in the meanwhile, try to see what else can I do and be in good stead when the economy recovers. Okay? So all of them, have to look at how to get into the real positive zone. And unless you know which industry you belong to and where your industry falls in this quadrant, it will not be easy for you to understand what strategy you need to adopt. Okay, so here is a list of industries that is that has been researched by Deal Room to fall in various quadrants. Okay, if you look at the top right hand quadrant, you are seeing things like food delivery, you are seeing collaboration software, you're looking at online education, biotech, and so on. Okay, and there are a lot of others that will come in that category, like in health and medical areas, like telemedicine, at-home testing, remote managed patient care, cyber security, sensor biometrics, IoT and instrumentation, and so on. Okay, Whereas if you see the quadrant in the left bottom, that's about the sharing economy, like economies like Airbnb, which are structurally and cyclically impacted. They have to reinvent themselves and find out or redesign their businesses uh, to survive through this economic shift that is occurring. So I'm going to walk you through what we call as an industry barometer, and so this is a way for you to understand, where does your industry measure on this barometer, and what is it that you have to do. Okay, so some industries are very positively impacted, like e-commerce, food delivery, online grocery, and so on. Some are mildly impacted, like consumer goods. People will start buying consumer goods. When the economy reopens, when they're able to go out, the education will come back to brick and mortar schools and colleges. While it is online right now, and the same with telecom. The mild setback that is seeing now will come back for good. Okay, there are some which are very severely impacted, like restaurants. Okay, so it's only curbside delivery, or if they open, it's only in open spaces. Similarly, ride hailing, sports, oil and gas, they are very severely impacted. And there are some industries that are disastrously impacted. For example, tourism, hospitality, cinemas, events. It's going to be very hard for those to recover, and it's going to be a very longer cycle for them to see the economy turn in their favor. So investors always look at such barometers, and you can find out where your industry is from some of the analyst reports. You can find out from some of the economic reports that are out there in the market. I have a 4-point mantra that I usually recommend to startups. It's in terms of what is the game you're going to play. Okay, so I have this 4-point mantra which is called thrive, survive, pivot, and finally it is self-disrupt or abandon. Okay, so if you look at the thrive mantra, it is for the industry which is experiencing very positive boost, right? So here it's a question of playing the game to your fullest advantage. If you look at the survive mode, these are mildly impacted industries. You have to defend your position, look at new growth markets. So what are you going to do here? You're going to find new playing grounds, because your revenue is obviously impacted and you want to get it back. So you're going to find new playing grounds. The third one, which is severely impacted, is an opportunity to pivot. Okay, this is an opportunity to redesign your business, reinvent, reposition. It's a question of changing the game. And finally, uh, the industries that are disastrously impacted, here, what you want to do is self-disrupt yourself. Okay, abandon the game if you cannot survive there, or find a new game to play. Okay. So that's what you want to do. And with this mantra, you will see that you are able to leverage the opportunities to become new market leaders. And I'll give some examples of how some of the companies are doing this. Okay, let's take a look at some of the new emerging market leaders. Zoom, for instance. Okay, the story of Zoom needs no explanation. They went from 122 million to 328 million in that quarter of February to April. Okay, they're just doubling down on the opportunity that is out there. If you look at the survive mode, look at this company called Beyond Meat. So this is a plant-based meat company, initially catering to the vegan population or the vegan community. Okay, but now they have gone after the meat eating market because the supply chain has impacted the meat supplies. Okay, this supply chain were hit by COVID. So they are like a substitute for the meat eating market. Okay, so they are going there, they are finding new playing grounds. Okay, the third one obviously is Panera. Very interesting case study. They have done several redesigns to their business model. Okay, they partnered with Grubhub for delivery in less than an hour. They have curbside pickup. They have emphasized always on healthy, fresh food, and they have expanded this to to delivery of groceries, fresh produce, fresh dairy, fresh bread and bagels, and so on. Okay. And finally, you look at the company like Equinox, okay, which has several gyms. They have gone on a strategy of self-disruption. They said that, okay, we are going to now not emphasize on people coming to physical gyms, but we are going to take the gyms to their houses, right? And they are offering instructor-led programs which are live or on demand. And that's how they are trying to keep their community engaged, their customers engaged, and turning over into the new behaviors and taking advantage of those. So from an investor perspective, the investor lens is obviously going to see how are you leveraging these trends, okay? And what is your business value during and after recovery, okay? Is your startup only for situations in the new normal, or is your startup also can survive if the new normal is delayed? Okay, so there will be a whole lot of scenario playing over here. What happens if there's an extended lockdown? What happens if there is a second wave? What happens there is a slower reopening? Okay, what is a cash conservation strategy? How can you get to faster break even? How can you possibly focus on a smaller market and get faster break even and so on? So those are the kind of things that the investors are going to really look at, and they're also going to look at path to profitability. Okay, so unlike the euphoria days where the focus was purely on growth, this is not going to be the new scenario, because we are now in the world of camels from unicorns. It is about braving the inclement weather and making big strides when the wind is favorable. Okay, so path to profitability becomes really important. Emphasis on burn rate. Okay, how creatively you can lower your customer acquisition cost, and is your startup in a capacity to raise debt if you run out of cash and there's no funding available? Okay. So in short, there'll be longer funding cycles, there'll be stricter criteria, preferential terms for investors will find their way into term sheets like liquidation preferences, cumulative dividends, pay-to-play clauses, and so on. Okay. That said, VCs are sitting on $150 billion worth of dry powder as at the start of 2020. And this capital needs to be deployed. So whether it's a long process or strict criteria, they got to deploy this capital. The moot question is, are you a founder who's playing to win rather than just playing to survive? Okay, that is going to be very critical for them. So how are you going to present that? And are you ready to grab that opportunity? Thank you.